Hello there, and welcome to the Double Zero channel. We do just one thing, and that's to take these two D10 dice and see how long it takes to make a double zero. The hypothetical odds are 1 in 100 rolls. However, we have plenty of space on the logbook just in case it's a lot more than that because real world conditions do not follow hypothetical odds. If you would like to play along, please write down your guess now about how many rolls it might take. All I ask is that you don't reveal the answer in the comments. Let other people watch the video and see for themselves. There'll be other things to explain as we go along, but let's get to it. So, roll number one. And that is a 7 and a 0. It only counts if it's a double zero. Zero paired with something else does not affect us. And next one is 4 and a 1. And that is a 1 and a 6. And we have there a double 1. Now, although we don't pay attention to other doubles, we do just keep a little log of them to see whether it's consistent with the 1 in 100 hypothetical odds. But we carry on with roll number 5. And that is a 6 and a 4. 3 and 6. And that is a 0 and a 9. And we have a 3 and a 7. 5 and 3. And that's a 3 and an 8. 3 and 6. 0 and 7. Again, unless it's 0 paired with itself, doesn't count. And that's an 8 and a 6. A 0 and an 8. And that's a 4 and a 0. We have a 2 and an 8. A 7 and a 6 there. And that is a 9 and a 4. 7 and a 1. And that's a 4 and a 1. We have a double 9. So put it upstairs, sling it on the doubles pile. And we have a 2 and a 0. And that's a 9 and a 7. We have a double 5. Again, it's on the pile, but it's not a double 0, so the game does not end. And that's a 2 and a 7. We have a 2 and an 8. And that is a double 7. Okay, interesting number of doubles so far. 1 and 9. 3 and 8. And that is a 9 and a 7. So we continue. 6 and a 1. And that's a 0 and a 2. We have there a 9 and a 9. Perfect. So that is our fifth double, and we're not even at 50 rolls yet. 7 and 3, and that's a 5 and a 0. We have an 8 and a 6. It's a 9 and a 4, a 7 and a 5, and that's a 1 and a 2. We have a 1 and a 4, a 5 and a 1, and that's 5 and a 1 again. A 3 and a 1 this time, and that is a 9 and a 3. A 9 and a 4, and we're edging up for 50 rolls. Every 50th roll, we take two hands and really give it a good shake. But that's coming up just in a few seconds' time. Meanwhile, 7 and 6. That's a 1 and a 3. 2 and a 1. A double 1. Sling that on the pile. And a double hander. Now, just got to be careful about pouring them because the design of this cup means that dice can fly everywhere, so let's be careful. And that is a 4 and an 8 for the 50th roll. We carry on to the 100th. That's a 0 and a 1. That is a 1 and a 6. We have a 4 and a 5. And that's 7 and 4. A 0 and a 4. And that's a 6 and a 2. A 9 and a 5. And that's a 2 and a 0. We have a 0 and an 8. We have, what's that, a 9 and a 3 there. And that's a 7 and an 8. That's a 0 and a 6. And a 0 and a 1. They're teasing us. The dice gods are teasing us. That's an 8 and a 9. Whoops. And we have a 1 and a 0 again. I told you, we are being toyed with. And that is a double 7. And it is also our 7th double. That is a 9 and a 1. And that is a double 9. We have an 8 and a 2. And that's a 2 and a 9. And a 5 and a 0. Okay, that is a 7 and an 8. A 5 and a 6. And that is a double 9. And we'll go also becomes our ninth double in a slightly poetic fashion, as poetic as dice can be. We continue. That is a 3 and a 6. That's a 9 and a 4. A 4 and an 8. And we have there a 6 and a 0. A 4 and a 5. And that's a 4 and a 5. A double 3, bringing us up to 10 doubles altogether. And that is a 6 and a 2. A 2 and a 5. Oops. 8 and 6. And that's a 1 and a 5. And a 1 and a 4. A 2 and a 9. I know it doesn't matter, but I do like to check whether it is a 6 or a 9, just for completeness. And we have a 6 and a 9 this time. A 3 and 8. And that's a double 5. Our 11th double of the session. So we're about on track there. So that's coming up to 100 rolls in a few minutes. 6 and 2. 7 and 1. 0 but a 7. Okay, fantastic. So that's a 4 up here. There is minimal editing in these videos, so if anything like this happens, you will see it. So that's a 4 and a 7. See, I told you this is a great clackety, makes a great clackety sound, but the dice do go everywhere if you're not careful. I shall try not to do this again. That's a 0 and an 8. And that's a 6 and a 1. Coming up for the 100th, where we'll use our two hands again. 4 and 9. And that's a double 1. 2 and 8. Double 3 for the 13th double. And nice big one, hoping they don't fly everywhere again. And a very gentle release. That is 3 and 6 for roll 100. That's our hypothetical odds. So we move on for roll 150. And that's 4 and 2. We have a double 5 there. And that's a 3 and a 7. 7 and 9. a 4 and a 6, and that's a 0 and a 6. 1 and 6, 8 and 4. That is a 7 and a 1, and 9 and 5. Dolly Parton's favourite numbers, of course. We have a 6 and a 4, and that's a 0 and a 9. And that's a 3 and a 9. 0 and 9. And that's a 0 and an 8. 0 and a 7. Very good, dice gods. Well played. That's a 4 and a 2. And that's a 4 and a 6. We have a 4 and a 3. That's an 8 and a 9. A 2 and a 0. A 3 and a 0. A 3 and a 0 again. And that is 9 and 6. That's 8 and 1. And 5 and a 4. A double 5, bringing us up to our 15th double of the session. A double 5, bringing us up to our 16th double of the session. A 5 and a 7. Oopsies. And that's a 5 and an 8. And we have here a 2 and a 1. That's a 3 and an 8. A 1 and a 6. That's a 5 and a 0. A 7 and a 6. And that's a double 1. Put that on the pile. A 3 and 8. And that's a 5 and a 9. A 7 and a 3. And a 4 and a 7. 8 and 5. We have a 2 and a 3. A 7 and 3. And that's a 5 and a 3. And a 4 and a 5. Coming out for the 150th roll, so we'll employ the two hands again. A 4 and 2. And that's a 0 but a 4. 0 and a 2. 1 and 0. And for roll 150, that is a 6 and a 4. We head on up for the 200th roll. That is 3 and 6. And it's 7 and 8. We have a 6 and a 0. And that is a 9 and a 5. And a 4 and a 2. A 0 and a 2. And that is a 9 and a 6. 3 and 1. And that's 7 and 0. We have a double 4, bringing us up to 18 doubles. A 7 and 5. A 5 and a 4. A 2 and a 4. That's a 9 and a 0. A 0 and a 1, but not a double 0. 2 and 7. 2 and 7. That is a double 9, which is our 19th double. And we have a 6 and a 9. 2 and 4. And that's 6 and 4. We have a 6 and a 7 there. A 5 and an 8. A 5 and an 8 again. And that's a 5 and a 7. That is a double 9. And that's a 20th double. 6 and a 4. 7 and an 8. Double 2. And that's a 1 and an 8. 5 and a 4. And it's a double 0. So let's count that up. So 150, 160, 170, 180, 182, like the blink. And on the way, we saw 21 doubles. So if you said 182 doubles, congratulations. I mean, you don't win anything apart from your own satisfaction, but what can I say? So thank you so much for watching, and you take care.